Hello friends, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take these whack-ass eyebrows from looking like this to looking sensual and seductive, clean, natural, whatever you want to call it. But before we get started, I do want to say I'm not saying this is the correct way to do your eyebrows. I'm just saying this is what I do, and if it helps you even a little bit, that would make my heart sing. So what you're gonna need is literally any eyebrow pencil. I have this shitty wooden one. You're gonna need a spoolie, something that combs your hairs real good but isn't too rough. You might need a sharpener, maybe? I use 3 different brushes. The first one, I think it's used for like smoking out under your eye. The second one I use is an angled brush from Morphe. It's a little wider, that's what it looks like. The third one I use is another angled brush from Morphe, but it's a little bit sharper, or like a lot sharper. These are what those two look like side by side. You could barely tell, but one's definitely sharper. So first things first, you're gonna want to comb through your eyebrows, keeping in mind that you've been sleeping on them all night, so don't be afraid to get in there, you know what I mean? My wooden pencil looks like this, so I'm gonna sharpen it just a little bit. Okay, so now we're getting down to business. I used to only fill in the tops of my eyebrows, and then I realized that that's not what you want to be doing. You want to fill in the bottom as well. And you want to start where you want it to be the darkest. So definitely on the bottom, and then start building the tail, and then the top, like that's the last thing that I focus on. Don't be afraid to use your hands. Whether you're doing your eyebrows, eyeshadow, concealer, lipstick, literally anything, don't be afraid to use your hands. I really don't fuck around too much with carving out my eyebrows with concealer because to me it just looks like there's just too much makeup on my face after. And honestly, who has time for that? But with these tips and tricks I'm going to show you today, you will never have to carve out your eyebrows ever again. And that is a fact. I hope. Don't sue me. Another tip that I have is to definitely look at yourself from 2 different mirrors, one from close up and one from far away, because sometimes you'll be looking on point close up and then you get into a regular mirror and you're like, the fuck? And I cut a lot of this part out, but this is definitely a step that you should take your time on. I almost want to say this step should take you the longest amount of time. So from here on out, we're just going to do some detail work, if you will. First things first, I comb through lightly with a spoolie, just to get the product working through my eyebrow hairs, you know what I mean? Then you're gonna grab the thicker of the 2 angled brushes and make sure it's clean. Mine is not. So as you're gonna see, very reluctantly, I'm gonna go clean this brush. And with the clean angled brush, you're just gonna go over everything and make sure everything's blended out the way you like. And if all goes according to plan, your eyebrows should be pretty much fleeking at this point, or almost fleeking. Okay, so lastly, we're gonna set these bad bitches with eyeshadow. And you can use literally any eyeshadow palette you like. I don't know why I'm dipping in that color, I don't need it. All you need is a taupe or beige for the inside of your brows, like the beginning, and that's what I use the shader brush for. Literally, that's the only thing I use this brush for, is to start my eyebrows off on the inside. The second color you're gonna need is brown, and that's gonna be for the body of your brows, and the brown should be very similar to like what the shade of brown you want your eyebrow at as a whole. And then lastly, I use black, like straight up black. You can use like an even darker brown, but I love using black. I use the black to sharpen everything, so the bottom and definitely the wing. And if you thought I was crazy earlier when I was talking about the two different angled brushes, this is where it all comes into play. You definitely want to use like the sharpest angled brush that you have. And I hate to say it because this has been really fun, but that's pretty much it. I usually after this will go to the restroom and look at myself from like a normal mirror and do some fine tuning or detail work, but I think my main tips would be to take your time and pay attention, like from start to finish. Like don't ignore that bald spot that you can kind of see in your eyebrows but you think no one will notice. If you know that you get a little bit greasy throughout the day, then just set your shit a little bit more with powder. Oh, and upon further investigation, I realized that I really prefer wooden pencils over like retractable eyebrow pencils just because they last so much longer and they have more of the consistency that I'm kind of looking for. Not like waxy, but definitely have pigment, kind of forgiving. I could work with it with the clean angled brush. Well, that's pretty much all I have for you for today. Thank you so much for being here. It really means the world. And don't forget to leave me comments. I love chopping it up with you guys. And if you feel so inclined to, don't be afraid to send this to your friend that you know needs help with her eyebrows, you just don't know how to tell her. I'll do the dirty work for you. Okay, bye!